as a guy, what do you really want in sex? Do you know? Do you think you know? Have you tried different things? Are you married thinking you need to try things outside the relationship? Maybe it's true. Quite possibly it's not. It's interesting how different our experiences are as men and women when it comes to sex. They're radically different, right? Some guys need to play the field for a while. Some guys get married young. Some guys get married and then they feel like it was suffocating them and then have a different partner or go through their Playboy phase. And I wanted to share some personal stuff of my phases of life experience of trying to figure it out. Because a lot of us don't figure it out ever. That's my assessment. I started looking into this when I was 29. I decided to take a year off alcohol. And it'd only been a couple months since I wasn't drinking. And having sex without alcohol was like really weird. And I was having good sex with a partner I liked, but it was uncomfortable. And I started asking other guys I'd meet at seminars, guys were in men's groups. I was 29, so usually guys in their 30s and 40s. And with rare exception, most of them drank most of the time. Doesn't mean they're obliterated having sex. But to me, if you need any substance to get you in the mood or to connect or to let down a block, I used to believe in that actually. I used to believe in, well, if couples are going through this, maybe it's good if they have some wine. And it's not black and white that you shouldn't ever do that per se. But to need those things is interesting. So to me, that shows me there's something impeding in sex. And if when I would talk to a lot of guys, I would find out very few men were sexually happy. And again, this is about a decade ago. I was in a monogamous relationship with a Colombian woman in Chicago. She was from Bogota. We were together for a couple years. When we broke up while I was living in Colombia. And I'd never really played the field. I'd had some sex, but I never really played the field. And I remember right as we broke up or right after, I was like, I need to go do that. And then I didn't. The next 6 months living in another city in Colombia were pretty boring. I moved to Medellin and I wasn't doing that initially. I was too sad and too heartbroken and thinking, did I make the right decision? This is again, like, when was this? 8.5 years ago. And I went through phases of prostitutes, strip clubs, three-ways with prostitutes, three-ways with regular girls, with a girlfriend, another girl, blah, blah, blah. And I got to the point of going so deep into sex, I knew I needed to kind of explore that. To go, okay, maybe I need to be polyamorous. Very popular thing nowadays, especially in spiritual communities. I did that for a while. That had different challenges. And I liked the ability, as most guys do, to have sex with several different women. And in some of those arrangements, kind of, I guess mine was more open relationship than polyamorous. It's kind of like committing to not being committed. So a lot of guys that are worried about losing their freedom, we like that. And I went through this phase from forced monogamy, which is what most men participate in, meaning most men don't feel like we're in control or there was another choice that we decided to even partake on. So we're participating in forced monogamy. Sex can be weaponized. Also, we don't understand women sexually. We think we do. We understand things we learn from porn, but a lot of times sexually to them means emotionally before sexually, where we're, as men, sexually then emotionally. Kind of opposites. Pretty much opposites. So I went through these phases: sex, drugs, prostitutes. And then I got to a phase a few years ago where I was like, I think I just need 3 wives. I know there's a level of fun and variety I craved. So I thought I'm gonna live in the country in Colombia. I'm gonna have 10 kids. I'm gonna have 3 wives. It was really my plan. I'm not joking at all. And then I just worked through a lot of different stuff sexually. I did sexual healing. I healed around being molested as a kid. I looked at a lot of my behavior for those few years, and I don't condone any of it. I'm not ashamed of it, so I share it freely. But I'm not proud of it. Like, hey, this was so cool. I paid for sex, but yeah, I had. And I had to look at what's really me. Because as a guy, we have different parts. And don't believe this because I'm so smart, not because I'm so smart. Like, think about it. Like, you have times where you go, part of me feels this way. Part of me wants to be single. Part of me wants to be in a relationship. Part of me wants to quit this job and start a business. Part of me likes this comfy paycheck. And as I've navigated my own journey, looking at like, what's the deepest, truest part of me? And there's still those different parts, but it's like, I want the best motherfucker, the best leader, the truest me. I want him making the decision. We'll take care of the other parts, but I want him making the decision. And it got to a point where it was really clear that it was going into monogamy. And I had a breakup that stirred up a lot of stuff. This is years ago. And because of that, I was mainly celibate for about 18 months. I had a couple lovers here and there, but like quick, have sex once. And then it became sexual suppression out of like shame. Because of how things ended and sex and blah, blah, in that last relationship and, shame and being afraid. And then I came back to another part of me, like a deeper part of me. I was like, no, I want to create that with someone. I want emotional monogamy. And why this video is important, there's never been the opportunity as a guy to have more clarity than ever before and simultaneously more confusion. You know what I mean? Like, it's wild because you can open your phone. There's more choices for anything. For food, you should be keto, you should be vegan, you should be paleo, vegetarian, this, that, whatever. Or I'll look at this girl, or I can meet this girl online and she can come to my country, I can go to hers or whatever, or my city. So there's I think one of the most important things is having clarity and knowing how to manage it and not get sucked in. Because life moves fast. It's not like years ago where you had some grandfather figure that really sat down and gave you wisdom. Most people don't have that. That's where dear friends come in. That's where coaches come in. And yeah, I had to kind of bounce around and figure it out. But in this new age stuff, there was so many things where I saw I couldn't get what I want really from having casual sex. And I'd be honest, I would tell the truth. I would start seeing a woman and say, hey, I'm never gonna commit to you. I don't think I was as confident about it, but I would say like, hey, that's not gonna, I was being kind of wimpy, but I was honest. And I would do that, and I felt like that was honest. And I realized, okay, these women, they're then wanting me to commit, and now this is a pattern. So if I'm doing this, it's like I'm not being protective of them, of their heart, even if they agreed to this. Women are a fluid creature. Women are much more fluid than women even understand. And for the last couple of years, even more lately, what's been on my mind is like, as a man, having clarity and burning away. I like the word burning, like going into a fucking fire and burning away what's not really you. And sex, money, and power are things we want as guys. They're called power status. And they're things that can really hook us and we can really screw up. I've seen people throw away 20 plus year marriages because they wanted to have a 3-way or because they wanted to do something with the babysitter or almost throwaway marriages. And it's something to look at. You could be with the wrong person. It's a very different thing if you look at a marriage, you've been in a marriage 5 years, and I was to ask you, well, can you go back to that moment when you had that connection or that? And you can go, I remember the first time someone asked me, I was like, it was never there. This is, again, years ago. So you can be with someone, you're just not compatible. And what can really suck is staying in it and going, no, we have to make it compatible. And it's like two puzzle pieces that just don't, fit together versus, like, oh, this is a thing? Damn. So as a guy, what do you really want in your deepest heart's desire with sex? And if you're watching this and you're single, great, because you get to pick from anything. You don't have to worry about the other person's preferences because there isn't anyone yet. What I've found navigating sexuality and seeing other men who really navigate it well, the heart and the animal both need to be satisfied. I've seen when the heart's satisfied in sex and the animal's not, or the animal is and the heart's not connected, you can stay together for 42 years. It won't work. So here's what I learned on my journey from, let's see, let me go through all of it. Forced monogamy to prostitutes, 3-ways, strip clubs, to being in a relationship and then going with a girl to sex clubs, 3-ways, to celibacy that turned kind of stagnant out of like shame at one point. Initially it was like personal growth, to then being in a monogamous relationship. I won't share all the details of that because it's more personal to her and I time. And then shortly, a few months after that relationship ended, going back to a different form of celibacy, which now is totally different. More about that on the next video. But what do you want as a guy? Someone told me, I had 2 female coaches years ago tell me something that really annoyed me. They were like, well, you should get ready for your divine partner and yada, yada. And, you can just sit there and imagine the energy and, feel it. I was like, I want to have sex. Like, I don't want to imagine the energy of my wife in my mind 5 years from now. Like, do you have I remember asking one of the coaches, like, do you have a picture of her? Is she naked? And for us as guys, that can be really hard. And hearing that from 2 women, it was harder because I'm like, you don't get it. Because you don't, as a woman. You get your experience. You can help a guy attract another woman, but you don't get it. So going through all these experiences, I needed to learn those things. Maybe I stayed in some phases too long, but I needed to go through forced monogamy to, I wouldn't say polyamory, open relationships, because I wasn't really in love with anyone. It was just more sex, to then a conscious form of monogamy. And having these periods of alone time and celibacy were vital, especially this one I'm in for the last 7-8 months or whatever it's been. Your heart and your animal need to be satisfied. The relationship game, my belief, my prediction, is changing immensely. There's more options than ever before. And you get to pick what you want. You get to know yourself well enough. That's really the key. Know yourself well enough to go, all right, let me look at my past. Let me do like a relationship autopsy. Let me look at this, and not build some fantasy. She's a porn star and she's also the stay-at-home, wife and whatever. But you get to actually build it. And if you get stuck in forced monogamy, which is where most guys live, forced monogamy also, you can cheat. I'm in Colombia. Most people, I would say, participate in forced monogamy just like they would in the US or Canada. The difference is down in Latin America, way more people cheat than in North America. People still cheat. Or you can go through the Playboy phase or call it most, I would say 95% of polyamory or open relationships is kind of just a fantasy. I do think some people are genuinely wired that way. I thought I was. I'm not. And then it's knowing yourself deeper to go, what are the needs that would cause me to want to have another woman, and how can I meet those in monogamy? How can I be a playboy? A total fucking playboy in monogamy. What if that's possible? What if that's possible to unlock your woman like no one ever has? Not even you. And because a woman is so fluid and she's like the rainbow with a bunch of different colors based on her hormone cycle, you get to experience all the different flavors of her. So what if you could have that level of variety in monogamy? Again, I'm not here to tell you what to do. Do whatever you want. I'm just here to say, like, I've seen forced monogamy not work overall. You can stay together for 42 years or whatever. I've seen the Playboy phase, open relationships, polyamory, Playboy phase I'd say never works unless you just want to live there. But the open relationships and poly stuff largely not work as well. It's not like you pick one or the other. But it's really a third stage, whatever that is for you. It's what's your deepest heart's desire. And also, imagine your hungry lion or tiger that it can sink its teeth into sexually and be super fulfilled, like it just ate a gazelle or whatever lions eat. You don't have to try it all to know what you like and what you don't like. But some of it does help. What do you really want, bro? And now that you have some more clarity, are you with the right person? Or who would you want to be with? Knowing that. Thanks for tuning in.